Hi friends, it's Kelly here, and I am really excited to give you a quick tour of my digital sketchbook. I am on an iPad Pro in the app Procreate, and I just want to give you kind of a tour of what I've been doing the past few years. We'll do 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. If you want to know, I kind of just use folders by year. So I have 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. And I got my iPad in 2018 and started drawing digitally before that on a Wacom tablet. But this is kind of some of my first work on the iPad, and you can see over the years just how much it's changed. So let's just kind of dive into it. If you're, a digital artist yourself, or if you just love to look at some digital art, I hope you enjoy this. And if you are a digital artist, I hope that you, are inspired to keep going. It's always interesting to go back and look at your old work, so I recommend you do that if you haven't before. This here is a fan art of a character from the anime Inuyasha, and this was the first thing I drew on my new iPad. That was actually at the end of 2018, technically, but it's in the 2019 folder because there's not much in the 2018 year that I drew. But I was playing around with, I think, the dry ink brush probably, and I still use the dry ink brush almost all the time. So that has stayed consistent, and I was really happy with this. Now, of course, I look at it and I just go, the facial proportions are weird. But that's what always happens, right? We're more harsh on our own work. As you can see, a lot of fan art here. I won't spend too much time on every piece, but you can kind of see what's going on. This one from February 2019 is still one of my favorite pieces of digital art I've ever made. I still am just so happy with not only the line work, but especially the lighting, especially with this character down here. And if you haven't seen Steven Universe, I highly recommend it. This is from that show, and we've got Connie down here. And I was so happy with how she turned out, and the lighting, like coming, around her. And I still am just so happy with this piece. I really should get it printed just for myself to put on my wall because I absolutely love it. And I remember this taking so long. I should look. The cool thing about Procreate is that you can look at the statistics and see how much time was tracked. Okay, 3 hours and almost 40 minutes. 6 hours, 6 hours and 40 minutes logged, but that's only the time when your pen is connected with the iPad. So it's definitely a lot more than that, but I spent a lot of time on that, which is unusual because most of the time I don't spend very long on pieces. And you can see a lot of sketches and starting pieces and never finishing them. This one I really like. I actually turned it into an inked piece. So I kind of sketched it out on the iPad and then brought it into traditional, and it turned out really cool traditionally. So I'll have to do another sketchbook tour, like a real sketchbook tour, not a digital one. Traditional, I should say, not real. Digital art is real too. Got the little rooster from Moana. Just, had to point that out. Most of my art at this time was fan art, and I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that you should draw whatever you enjoy and whatever keeps you drawing. And for me, a lot of the time was drawing fan art. And so if that's what keeps me drawing art, that's what I'll do. These two are interesting here because I was following a Bob Ross video, and that's just really fun to do. and get better and better at painting. I'm still kind of just learning how to paint and use color the right way. Again, lots and lots of fan art. And yeah, even now, fan art is what inspired me. Just like animated films and TV shows especially inspired me to draw. And so that's kind of where I got that. Lots of How to Train Your Dragon. This is the kids at the end of the last movie. And I just like, it makes me cry the end of that movie. And then here I have Hiccup's hand going, saying goodbye to Toothless. So much here. There's Tangled the series and My Hero Academia and The Dragon Prince. So many things. I feel like I did a lot of, copying and drawing from the references of other people, I guess, and like testing out other people's styles, which I don't think is wrong. I don't think it's good to, try to copy something and post it as your own, obviously, but put credit where credit is due. But even in your own personal sketchbooks and things, like go ahead and draw based on other people's styles, and then you'll learn something about that style that you like or don't like or anything. I know I was really happy with this one when Aladdin came out, and I was like, oh, I got her dress, like, so good, and it felt very, like, storyboard-esque to me, so I'm very happy with that one still. It's just, like, quick sketch. And this, okay, just like I was talking about, like, copying people's styles or trying something, or, trying to, I shouldn't say copy even, it's like studying another person's style, right? This, I specifically was trying to emulate Sarah Faber. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. At the time, she did a lot of digital drawing of girls. She still draws and paints a lot of girls, but she's doing a lot of traditional stuff now. But at the time, she would do a lot of things like this. And so I tried to, I really love and liked her work. So I was like, okay, let's study that and see what I like about it. And so I did this kind of in the Sarah Faber style. So I think it's okay to do that. I think everyone, like literally everyone, gets their style by studying other styles. And just make sure you give credit where credit is due. So that's just a good example of that. And, it doesn't take too much time, I feel like, with digital art to start getting used to the tools, although it does take some time. I'm also just really happy with these. You can tell that I like drawing people too. I like drawing characters. I like drawing poses and action, and I like to get the feeling of, like actual movement in a still piece. That's 2019. Let's look at 2020. Got to start all the way down at the bottom. This is just how I name all of my pieces. I just name them all by the date. And so that kind of because I love, like in a traditional sketchbook, I love to know when I drew it. So I always put the date down, because I love to go back and see how I've progressed and everything. And for digital art, I just name it with the date that I finish it. And that's kind of how I keep track. This one is still a favorite of mine. The proportions are really weird, but I like it because it's kind of my own, like, how I interpret my anxiety is just like this stomach pain, and that comes on. It's just like sudden, like an arrow. It just like hits you unexpectedly. And so I'm still really happy with like how this one makes me feel, like the emotional response that it elicits. And I feel like this is one I should definitely like redraw sometime, because I still really like how that looks, even if it's not perfectly proportioned, back in 2020. Lots of fan art. I don't know if you remember the like cartoon me challenge that was going around online. So cartoonified half of my picture, which was super fun. I enjoyed that a lot. Fan art, so much fan art. And weird sketches, and it's okay that not everything's perfect. You know what I mean? Oh, and the give me 6 characters to draw fan art of, that I feel like I still see that around all the time. It's super fun. I was super, super excited about my turnip head. I think he turned out super great. He's my favorite of the ones I drew. Not favorite character necessarily, just the favorite. It turned out my favorite. I'm telling you, everyone has these scribbles that don't mean anything. Oh, this is like it's an animation. Let's look at it. It looks like someone's water bending. Let me look. Yeah, that's way too fast. Maybe like that. Oh yeah. Woo! Water bending. Very cool. Very cool. I still don't do a lot of animation. On my videos, I'll do some little animation things, which is nice, but I've never, been the best at that or given it enough time. Still really happy with this one too. Landscapes in like traditional watercolor and gouache are so much easier for me than, for some reason, it's just hard to do landscapes in digital art. Mostly I think it's just like, color and everything, but not impossible. I just like to draw people, clearly. All right, so that's 2020. 2021. Gotta go all the way back to the beginning. Again, fan art, fan art, nothing but fan art. Oh, this one's so fun. I drew my D&D character. Her name is Belle Billows, and she was a halfling storm sorcerer, and she had such a cool arc in my friend's D&D campaign. Yeah, she was super fun to play. That was my first D&D campaign. I remember, I was looking at like the short hair or the long hair, and I went with the long hair because I was like, oh, short hair would be too much like me. I also draw a lot of Dutch costumes because that's kind of my heritage growing up. We had a festival every year and wore our Dutch costumes. And there's so many different varieties and all sorts of cool hats, so I like to draw them a lot. Oh yeah, here's the Belle Billows general information about her. She's pretty fun. I'm sad that campaign is over, but it ended really, really well. And even here, like I did some comic practice or studies, I should say, of different comics and manga. So this is from the manga Snow White with the Red Hair. And it was so much fun to practice and to just study how, you have to, put everything on the page in a different way, and how does your eye move across the page. And so that was really fun to study. This is from the Adventure Zone graphic novel, and my version of it, I just basically redrew everything as a study, both of the layout and just like how they did that. Comics is still something I'd be really interested in drawing more of, because again, my love of drawing comes from my love of animation and my love of storytelling. So I'd love to do more of that. It definitely takes a lot of time though. Like, wow. So many things. So much fan art mostly. Again, another Dutch costume. That's the Marken costume that the older woman's wearing. So much. Again, I'm like, a lot of these are actually, I can tell that I'm like, copying from something. Like, this is a manga picture. I get so much inspiration from manga and comics too. And again, that's okay. You just have to, like, if you're going to post it and share it, say who the original is from. This is an original from me that I was really, really happy with too. Like the line art, just like, and the colors were great, so I'm happy with that one. Of course, I'm just showing you the ones I'm happy with mostly. Isn't that always how it works? But yeah, sometimes I just draw like little sketchy things like, this is how I'm feeling right now. Like I'm falling and everything's, falling around me. I just love drawing people and movement. And there's Varian. If you haven't seen Tangled the series, highly recommend. I love him. He's my son. And it's great. Oh, and this is like all of my friends' D&D characters, like as if we're all taking a selfie. That was just so much fun. And yeah, just playing around with different things. Digital art is so fun because there's so many different tools and brushes and things to make it different. This is maybe one of the first times I was like, oh yeah, this feels like my style. And of course, like, my style is ever evolving. Everyone's is. And I'm sure this isn't the only thing that looks like this, but I just moved. I drew this when I just moved back to Minnesota. And, it was, I don't know. It's just like, this feels like me, like these colors, the way it's like scribbled in there. And I only just now am starting to do more of this kind of look. But I feel like it's much more me, and I still feel that way. Even a couple years later, looking at that little small piece. And this was the first year I did an art versus artist type of thing. I really do like doing those at the end of the year. So I'm going to keep doing that for sure. 2022. Definitely do a lot this year. Lots more fan art and D&D fan art and Dutch costumes. I'm really happy with that one. And again, it's just people. Like, I feel like you get to a point where you know what you like to draw. And then of course I'm trying to draw animals and settings, backgrounds, sort of thing. And that's the other thing. I never draw backgrounds with my people. It's always just the people. That's what I like to draw. Getting into my Owl House phase. Warning. So much Owl House. More Dutch costumes. I'm just showing you those ones because I feel like you've seen fan art once. You've seen it a dozen times. I was really happy with some of this Owl House fan art though. I recommend watching the Owl House if you like fantasy stuff. Rain Whispers is one of my favorite characters, and this was just so much fun to draw, and yeah, they're the best character. Absolutely. Yeah, this is all Owl House. Oh, I found a little cartoony style that kind of works for me too. These are all like self-portrait sort of things of just expressions, but using myself. I love to draw myself, and not narcissistically, but because I know that I'm not going to be mad with the way I draw myself. Like if I drew one of my friends, like I would feel super insecure about like maybe they don't like the way I draw them. But if I just draw myself, then I know that I'm going to like it. And so it also is kind of therapeutic of like, this is how I see me. So it might not be how everyone sees me, but I can show other people how I see me. And that's how I see me. These little doodles. More of the fan art. There was a whole digitally painted piece with this skirt, and this person is like sitting on a railing and the skirt is everywhere. And I was like, that is so gorgeous. I need to study it. So again, it's just like pick something that you really like and try to study it, try to recreate it. I mean, that's how like, traditionally, like you if you've gone to an art school, I did not. I never took an art class, but like you can go to a museum and try to study the masters, right? Like, I think you should still do that even if you don't go to art school. But you can do that too with just the digital art that you like, or artists online that you like. And again, if you're going to share it, just, give a little nod to them and make sure that's all good. This one is just like, I love how this expression turned out. I love it so much. And it's hard too, because sometimes I want to draw little cartoony things like that, and sometimes I want to like paint a full illustration, and it's hard. Like this one, this is Owl House fan art again, but I mention it because it took me so long. It was so long. Because I was really, really trying to like paint it a little better. It still is pretty flat colored, but I have all the line art. Oh my goodness. It just took a really, really long time. And I'm proud of it because of that. But even when I look at it now, I'm like, maybe not my best work. I really like pieces that take me one sitting. Like I like to sit down and finish an entire art piece in one sitting. And if I don't, then I feel like, I don't know, I'm not a fan of that. More Owl House fan art, but that's what I was drawing during this time. This was my Owl House era. And I'm still like so happy with this one because it looks like it referenced from the show, and I feel like it looks exactly like how the frame looks on TV. And I was just so excited to use the glow well, and I'm just happy with it. I still am happy with that one majorly. I could just draw these characters forever, and I did for a very long time. So, and there's my art versus artist of the year. Again, mostly fan art, which is just fine because that's what kept me drawing. This year, I'll do a full review of stuff from this year at the end of the year. You can tell I haven't done a lot of digital stuff, but I have, just to say, I have returned back, that little Minnesota drawing I did. I've returned kind of back to that feeling and that scribbliness, and I really like that, and I want to be able to continue this kind of like scribble, because before I was trying to get things, I love line art, I love to do line art, and I try to get things so perfect, but I always hated coloring and painting it digitally. So this is finally a way that I enjoy painting, and it's not really painting, it's coloring in the lines basically. But I love that. I love this scribbly, like childlike feel of it. And so I'm hoping I can do a lot more of this kind of thing in the future, and also try to figure out how do I get this kind of style into my traditional work as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my art right now. And I hope that this inspired you. You can really tell, like, in my journey of digital art in the past, few years, and it's just gonna keep on changing and growing. And that's what I love about art, is that our art is always changing, our style is always changing, and I'm really excited to see what more I learn and what more I discover as I continue to make art. And I hope you do too. So have a fantastic day, and I'll see you again really, really soon.